Jaguar, I'm going to start with you. You've been called a whistleblower. You knew Sean Diddy Combs for a long time. You attended a number of his infamous parties. And in 2022, you made headlines after comments where you called him a sex trafficker. And in response, you were called crazy and jealous. Do you feel vindicated by the events of the last few weeks?
No, not at all. Because he's just the beginning. Until him and his cohorts are all held to account publicly and legally, the victims, they're not safe.
How bad was it?
That's what I care about. I care about the victims.
No, I understand. How bad was it, do you think, what was going on?
I'm going to tell you right now that me, as a woman who has been in the industry for over 30 years, I've been performing live since I was 13. My first handler was McKinley Horton. I come to find out 25 years later that a scar that was on his face with a very elaborate story he gave me was put there by a woman who he assaulted. To live through these things and hear your elders in the business, people like Patti LaBelle say, just avoid him, honey. And being taught to be a just avoid him, honey, it's not good enough. Not when you live through these things, you're still suffering the PTSD created by all of this, and you're talking to a victim that's 20 years younger than you, and she's telling you the exact same thing that happened to you. So you want to know why there's no vindication for me? Because for 4 years, I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. And the victim-making machine kept going on.
Jay-Z has been notable by his silence since these charges were brought against Diddy. Why do you think that is?
Because that's what he does. He starts little fires everywhere, forces everyone involved to go and carry water while he sneaks away without a response. That changes now, Sean. You must respond. You have no choice. Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common, professionally and privately: Sean Carter. This has been a fist of tyranny that has been punching through our culture and our society for decades. It must stop.
There's been obviously a lot of
cruelty-free artistry.
Right, there's been a lot of rumor mill about what has happened in the rap world. A lot of allegations that the misogyny in the lyrics clearly was based on a general misogyny towards women away from the music. And that clearly seems to have been borne out by these charges against Diddy, which if he's found guilty of all this, he's never coming out of prison. How dangerous do you think...
Thank God.
How dangerous do you think he is as a person?
I think he's one of the most dangerous people I've ever met. A lot of people have been questioning, well, she doesn't really know him. She has no knowledge of him. She doesn't have a picture with him. I'm smarter than Claudia Jordan. I would never take a picture with the devil. Everyone knew he was the devil. He's been the devil for 30 years. He's been covered and protected by not only Clive Davis, but Lucian Grange. He was selected to be the demon that he is, to keep the culture in line so the industry could continue to rape it for all of its precious jewels. We have too many lost. The list of lost is ridiculous. And everyone knows Diddy was selected for this job. He's the Judas.
Do you think that if he's cornered in the way that he's been now, that he may start revealing things about other people?
He has no choice. His ego and his drug addiction won't allow him to do anything different. Anybody who thinks he's not going to talk is crazy. The simple fact that he's not saying more now only means that the people who have been protecting him all along, who put him in position to be such a horror to the Black community, still find value in him. He's got everybody on tape. They all know it. It's a mess.
For those who were never at these freak-off parties, what were they like?
See, this is the thing. Everything that I'm about to say to you is not my firsthand knowledge. It is my firsthand witness account experience. I was a sex worker. I was a dominatrix before I got my record deal. That's how I know how the dark world and the sex world and the entertainment world run hand in hand. That's why the movie Blink Twice is so important. Salute to Zoe Kravitz. The sex workers that I have worked with throughout the years and continue to work with even to this day have worn hidden cameras. I have my own tapes. I've seen what they do. The ritualistic behaviors, the drugging, putting girls in the suitcases, dumping them in alleyways. It's horrifying. And it's all done under the protection of, this is going to be paid off. There's another NDA. This is going to be, it's terrible.
It seems to have been something that a lot of people knew about, but people were simply too scared to talk about.
Everyone knows. And every person that's sitting there trying to act surprised knows very well. The whole point of this, like Cat Williams said when he sat with Shay Shay earlier this year, the whole point of this is for them in a coordinated effort to pretend like none of it is real for the public's perception. But everyone knows what's going on, and it's been going on for years. It's been going on before Diddy. See, people keep looking at him like he's the Sputnik that came out of nowhere. This is someone who was designed to be what he is. We got to stop making Diddies. And if we're going to do that, then we got to go back. We got to go back to even further, the mentors of these people. Because Diddy was taught how to do what he does systematically, and Clive Davis has been his greatest teacher.
Look, Clive Davis is not here to respond to that, nor is Jay-Z. But a lot of people, famous people in the music industry, have been notable, like I say, by their silence so far. It's also been notable that since the Me Too campaign began in 2017, the music industry has largely avoided the same scrutiny that other industries have had. Why do you think that is?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Since Me Too began in 2017, the music industry has largely avoided the same kind of scrutiny that other industries have had. Why do you think that is?
Well, because the Me Too movement was a ruse. It was a setup. It was a scam. I'm saying that now, publicly. Dream Hampton spearheaded the Surviving R. Kelly campaign, which fueled the Me Too campaign. And that was all funded by Sean Carter to make sure that Robert Kelly went to jail. Get his lick back. Why is nobody understanding that Dream Hampton was being financed and ran by Sean Carter? They were able to go and get all of these witnesses because he was there with Robert Kelly. How does Jay-Z sit down with Gayle King and she not ask him one question about the intersection between him and Aaliyah and Robert Kelly? This is insane that people keep refusing to see what's right there.
Do
If
you
the Me
think,
Too movement were real, why aren't they speaking now? They've also been very quiet in this time of the diddler's downfall.
Jaguar,
Guess
if
they
this,
on vacation.
if this goes to court, Jaguar, do you think the world is going to be shocked by what comes out?
Oh, absolutely. I just don't know why they are. It's been happening in front of everyone's faces for decades. For decades.
How many victims?
What's the difference between me and Judy Garland? Social media.
How many victims?
There was none for her.
How many victims potentially do you think there could be?
Thousands. Thousands. I've talked to hundreds that I deal with still myself. I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well. They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim
Keeping
Porter?
people against their will. Putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane. Unconscious. There's a lot of things that people don't want to talk about, Piers.
Listen, like I said, Jay-Z and Beyonce are not here, unfortunately, to respond to that.
I know. I'm just being honest with you.
You're perfectly entitled to your views, obviously. Kim Porter,
Yes.
a new book claims that Diddy may have been involved in her early death. What do you think of that?
I think people should really look into that more. I am friends with Albie Shore. I love him. I love his children. I knew Kim. We used to all hang out together at the Kit Kat Club back in the mid-90s when Diddy was first starting his reign. I watched that whole thing happen. And everything that Albert has been through, every attempt on his life that has been ignored by the authorities, it all leads back to Diddy, and everyone knows it. The wiretapping of the phones, putting air tag on children during visits, these are normal practices that these people do.